All right, it's top of the hour. It's 9 a.m. Good morning from the Goat Shed, located in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. But you already knew that, didn't you? If you're a regular viewer of our YouTube broadcasts. Had a little bit of technical difficulty this morning with the setup on my tablet, so I've had to revert back to the phone this morning. But that's okay. I think we can get the general idea. So we came back to work, I think it was the 6th of January, and here we are now. It's it's the 8th of February. So we've been back just on 4 weeks. And oh, hi Bob, you feel bad you forgot to wish us Happy Australia Day. Yeah, well, that was January 26th, so Australia Day has become rather controversial in Australia over the last few years, but anyway, we won't go into that. But it's a public holiday. It was on a Sunday, and there was a public holiday on the Monday for that. Yeah, so it's the 8th of February, Saturday morning. It's approximately 9 a.m. It's 22 degrees Celsius outside, which is 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. You can all see Graham there in the picture. He's going to be rebuilding a drop target live, and he's got a mic connected, so he'll chat when he's ready to do it. We just want to talk about a few other things. Did you have something to say there, Graham?
I was just going to say it's out of a solar rod, a EM solar rod.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll run through that in a minute. What we're going to do, people, we're going to show you all the parts that you need to rebuild a drop target. And we're going to show you a little bit about how it all goes back together. Now, don't worry, we've already done a video on this. It was our last video on drop targets about 4, maybe 5 videos ago.
Yeah, so
And it's a video depicting a newer way we've found to do drop targets. We pull them right apart. Now, some people don't, and that's fine, but we like to clean and polish everything up to do a good job. You know what it is we say? Do it once, do it right. That's the great philosophy, I believe. That's the way I was taught, and you certainly were chastised by your apprenticeship master if you didn't do it right. And by gee, if you said you knew how to do it and you didn't, watch out, they'd kick you right up the bum. Can't do that to apprentices today. It's just not allowed.
hey, I'll do it to you.
Oh yeah, I know. Takes the fun out of it. When we started back at work this year, we had 14 machines to do. Now, that's a lot of machines, indeed. We've already finished 4 of those. So the first one we did, and we did a video on this as well, was Close Encounters. We then did a Casanova, Williams Casanova. Then a Mustang. It's actually over my shoulder there. We just finished that yesterday. It's still in the testing procedure. And we fitted in a Jungle Princess in between. Now, this particular machine, Jungle Princess, I'll come back and talk to you about it. We've actually did a video on it, a couple of videos. I'm just going to let you see Graham there, see what he's doing.
Nothing too exciting.
Nothing exciting yet, but yeah. So, with that Jungle Princess I just mentioned, it had a few very, very interesting problems indeed. We had a lot of trouble with it, and I'll elaborate a little bit more about that in a minute. But I'm just going to try and find the name of that video for you that we have on the Goat Shed. Let me think, what was it? It was called, there was one called a bad AX relay and how to, it needed resetting to like the factory. It had all been mangled. The switches had been mangled. Look, if you're going to adjust relays, don't use, unless you're really clever, don't use pliers. I mean, some people might be able to do it, but by God, that's bad, you know. You'll see that in the video. But anyway, as I say, we'll come back to that in a moment. The next job we've started on is Gottlieb's Kingpin. That machine's come all the way up from Victoria, which is the state below us here in New South Wales. So it's probably about an 8-hour drive, 7 or 8 hour drive to where it came from. The young fellow whose dad owns it, I think, is going to give it to the young guy, and so we're going to go right through that. We'll probably do a video on some of the troubleshooting on that when we get up to it. So far, we just started it very, very late yesterday afternoon, because it was the head. We started on the head, and we've just already done the ball count unit in the ultrasonic cleaner. That's all nice and clean, which is good. So after that, when this Mustang goes back to the owner behind me here, they're going to bring us a golden arrow. So they recently bought that, and we're going to go through that. Also, to finish off, we've got a pro football and an ice show. Those two machines are having cabinet repairs done on them, so they're going to be delayed a little bit till we get those cabinets back. We've got a card whiz out the back there, which has got to be put back together. That's sort of underway. That belongs to our apprentice Kyle, but he's not available all this month. He's got some other things to do. A gentleman appeared here the week before Christmas with a fantastic, here, I just bought this, it's on his pickup truck, wanted to dump it off. We didn't have the room. We said, look, you're going to have to contact us at the end of January. We haven't heard back from him yet. That's fine. We just were on the phone earlier last week. We've got a gentleman from the state of South Australia who has a majorette. That's a Gottlieb majorette. And unusual because it's an add-a-ball game, and he really likes it, and he wants us to do it all up. He's going to get the cabinet all fixed and painted, and some playfield touch-ups and various other things, new parts, etc. So we'll be doing that. We've got an abracadabra to do. We swapped that playfield over early 2024, and that's just sort of been put on the back burner. We've got that to do. And we've got a gentleman who owns he owns a spinner card, which we did a video on, I think, a year or so ago, maybe. He's got a dropper card in here now, which we pulled the playfield all apart. They did that when I was over in the States in October. And it was sort of been sent to an artist to be done up. The same guy recently bought in the States a flipper card. That's still on the way to us, being shipped over. And he's now he'll have the 3 dropper card, flipper card and spinner card. That's sort of what his desire was. And flipper card isn't easy to find in Australia. And yeah, he bought one off a guy in, I think, Arizona. Yeah, Arizona. So it got shipped over to Long Beach, California, and then, as I say, as we speak, it's on a boat in a container on its way. Now, just getting back to that Jungle Princess.
Can I just have a... Just wanted to just notice a bit of difference with these drop targets are the ones we usually work with. And actually it's a better idea than the old ones. Where this one here is off another Jungle Queen, I think. This one's off, of course, the one we're doing. So it hasn't got that bit there, is all missing. So you can actually put the drop target straight in.
Oh, I see. It's cut away.
It's cut away.
So let's hold both those up, Graham. Give them here.
And so
See what we're talking about?
it makes it a lot easier.
On the right, there's the cutaway. Where my thumb is, there's no cutaway. Yeah, that's pretty good. Must have been something they thought of.
Solar ride, because solar ride come out in solid state as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well, solar ride, we've got the information right here. It came out, according to the IPDB, March 79 it was manufactured, and there was only 365 units of the electromechanical produced, but solid state system 1 there was 8,800. So that's an Ed Krinsky design, and the artwork by Gordon Morrison, and yeah, that would be getting up to one of the last 4-player EM games made, for sure and certain, without question.
Well, how good's that? Just straight away.
There you go. So it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Like you could just take the
I
back
wonder
and play
when
off.
they done that.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting thing. Like, I'll check that out. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this manual. That's the Gottlieb parts catalogue from 1978. It's got a lot of useful information in all the part numbers. I mean, if you've got a few pinball machines, you're going to be repairing them. You know, buy one of those. I don't think they're very dear. I think they might be $25 from Pinball Resource. And everyone knows that Steve likes to have the part numbers, so all that information is in there. And of course, Williams and Bally, you can get those online, but everyone knows the Gottlieb story about copyright and everything. So, strongly suggest everything, you know, all the part numbers. And remember these here, there was a couple of different styles of those, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And it does go backwards. Here's one from, like, for argument's sake, that says current from March 75. You know, so they did make certain changes to score reels and things, and that sort of stuff. I'm just going to have a look and see if we can find the drop targets here, which I know they're in here. Oh, here we go. So this book's from 78. So here you go. It's showing you exactly the same ones that we've got there on the left. So they must have just decided to change that sometime after the book was made, because that part number's there, not there, or perhaps there was an addendum to the book. But we don't see many games from this era.
No.
What was Close Encounters?
Just 78.
Ah, right, okay.
So, no.
78?
Could be early 7, and I could.
Anyway, the interesting things you find. So being Friday in the United States, it's that time of the month when Mark Gibson has his fun with pinball class, and coaching clinic as they call it, and there's one of those on this afternoon in America at our time 11 a.m. this morning, which is 00.00 UTC time, and it's starting an hour later for some reason. I guess Mark had something he had to do, so I'll be hooking onto that, but I'll be a bit short on that today because it's getting into our afternoon. So we've got all that happening with all those games. It's a lot, but as I said, out of the 14, I think we originally had 11, and 3 more popped up, which was Jungle Princess, the flipper card, and the dropper card. We forgot we had it here. So Graham's still fitting those drop in, and what he's doing, he's fitting all new parts. Now, on the old one, when we pulled it apart, you'll notice that we've put, this is the reset bar. So we put, might be hard to see, there, pop rivets we had to put in because that was loose on the other side, that was coming loose. But then what we noticed, right toward the end, we didn't notice this at first. Yeah, we just lost the internet in for a minute.
Yeah.
That's broken away. So what we had to do, we had to get another reset bar out of another game. We've got some spare ones here and put that in. These do break off. We did a video on. I think we did a video on one. Well, no, we didn't. Or did we? I'm getting a bit confused there. We had a 7-bank one is hot shot and big shot. A guy had one of those completely missing off his machine, so we had to make one up. What did we use to make that part? We used
I think we just cut one in half, an old one in half.
No, I don't think we did. We didn't have the right one. We had to make it out of...
Oh, we made it out of the channel.
Ball channel.
No, the channel that holds the back door on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The channel that the door goes into.
Yeah, so you know where the back door fits into the Gottlieb pinball machine, the metal channel, we made it out of one of those. It was almost perfect. We had to form it a little bit. We made a mistake when we did it. We didn't quite do it right, and we had to do something like so long ago, but they're really hard to get. I don't think PBR have them or anything like that. Now, something else we had the other day too, I'll talk about in a minute, which was very interesting. Just got to find it. You know, we work on a lot of stepper units and we had a problem there. But what I want to show you now, how am I going to do this? Right. This is a list of all the parts that we're putting in to this machine, the Solarite. Now, I don't know if you want to use your cell phone and take a screenshot of that, but there's a drop target set, GTB DTS 421, drop target triggers A12181, 5 extension springs A18995. They're the ones that pull the plastic target itself back, and then the extension spring A517, they're the stronger ones, they go on the triggers. And see next to that A18995, it replaces the A12178. They must have changed the spring for some reason, so they changed the part number. So that is the correct part number if you want to order. But the most important one is the A517. A torsion spring A13455. That's the little torsion spring that helps to restore the... this is it here. I'll show you in a minute anyway. Helps to restore the reset bar. I'm sorry, I'm waffling on here. The 5 rubber grommets that go on the back of them. A coil sleeve for the coil. So rubber grommets 986. Coil sleeve 5172. And a new coil stop A4862. So hope you've all got a screenshot of that. There it is. You'll be able to rewind the video and have a look. What we're talking about now is you put a trigger. I wanted to show people the trigger.
Oh,
just take one out for me, please. So here we go. We've got the drop target set, which is, you know, everyone knows what they are. The triggers now, they wear out badly, and I think, did you get me a worn one, Graham?
no, I couldn't find one.
Okay.
I think we chucked them.
Oh, okay. The triggers wear badly across the top here. They get an indentation in them. If we haven't got any, we use a flapping tool on a Dremel, that one, to flatten them down. That tends to work.
But if they're too bad, you've got to replace them.
But if they're too bad, you have to replace them. Now, the ones that were in this aren't too bad, but the owner of this machine likes to put new parts in. I see someone's asked a question there, have they? Oh, hello, Gullamede. Hi, good morning to you too. Obviously a sleeve.
Yeah.
This is the torsion spring, this tiny little fella here.
On Tame Banks, I have 2 of them.
Yeah. Just hold the what. There you go.
You can actually see where it is on this bank. Can you see it?
No, I'll hold it up here. Thanks, Graham. Yeah. It's a bit hard to see. That's it there, hooked onto there.
It's got a hook around that screw. You haven't got the screw in for the...
Yeah, it might be a bit dark, but yeah, that's where it goes. So when you take it off...
You need the core case and bracket in before you can do it.
There you go, that's a good tip. So, that's the called the series bar. Now, that's not a new part, but that's the thing that rests on what they call the butterfly, which is here.
Yeah, and they break a lot down the bottom there.
Show us the butterfly. So that's called the butterfly, and it's got the 2 little lift or separators on it. And when all the targets are down, that falls in and closes the switches to give a completed circuit across the switches in the back of the drop target. Excuse me. And we've got, what else have we got? There's a new coil stop. We've just fitted that in. Didn't you say you had trouble with a nut there on that?
The actual casing was spinning.
Oh.
So we had to put in the vise and put some pressure against the core of it.
Oh, rightio.
It was a bit of a pain what we got there.
Yeah, okay. Now, just over here are the springs. These are the springs, the A517. They're the stronger of the 2. The lighter springs are the ones that pull the target. Have you got those springs fitted to that yet?
Yeah, well, that's the lighter one.
Yeah, there's the lighter spring. That's the one that goes on the drop target. That's that other part number.
So if you pick them up, you can tell the difference just by
pulling them. But
the tension.
But the trick is that they're the same. They're the same length.
They look very similar.
They do. As Graham just said, the A517s are a bit stronger. They're made of a slightly different diameter wire. So there he is. He's happily doing that in the background. He's not saying a lot because, like I said,
just turn the brain off, and
we've already done a video on that.
It's funny, you do so many, but you still got to look at the plan sometimes.
True. So we were just mentioning a minute ago, we've got that Mark Gibson thing coming up. We've also got our own course coming up very soon, March 1st.
What is it, about 2 weeks, is it?
Oh,
3 weeks.
3 weeks? March 1st, yeah, Saturday, March 1st.
Oh, right.
So that's not far away. We've got 6 people coming to that, which is a full course, which is good. We haven't had a full course for a while. Here's Paul Crossack from New Jersey. You're late. Yeah, that's okay, Paul. You're forgiven. So let's see. It's now almost 5:25 in the afternoon in New Jersey. And then where Bob Milsner is, it's only 4:25. And as we move across the country, it gets, what is it, 3 hour time difference between LA and New York, isn't there? Crazy when you're travelling. Anyone out there bought any machines lately? Anyone?
You got any good bargains lately?
Yeah, you got any good bargains? Why don't you tell us what your latest acquisition is if you've got one, and share that with all the viewers. What we like to see in here is the some of the people's collections. We put on our on our Facebook group about 2 weeks ago. We put a photo up of a private collection where it had the Close Encounters of the Third Kind and a few other games. What else was there? Matahari, Matahari.
Yeah, Gemini.
Gemini. Okay. Oh, Gallamede just bought a Sure Shot for $150. Hey man, that's a good buy.
Yeah.
with sure shot people, the biggest problem with those was that the pool ball inserts in the middle of they fall out.
All around the playfield.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. They're terrible. They must have,
So,
I don't know, they must have changed the glue or...
So if you buy a machine and then a few are missing, they could be in the bottom of the cabinet.
Always give them a tap, yeah, and they'll fall out. And
you've got to glue them back in.
Yeah, you've got to glue them back in. Just that particular era, wasn't it?
Only
70,
that machine.
76 sure shot?
5, 6, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so our apprentice Kyle, he should be at work, working, but he's come up and said he'll be at the course too. He will be. He'll be the 7th person at the course. And we look forward to these courses to share a bit of knowledge with people and teach people. We like to see the look of excitement on their face when they see some of the things that we're able to illustrate to them, such as you know, pulling a score reel apart and putting it back together, for instance, is one thing that people really sort of amazed by if they've never done it before. But we're just talking about Jungle Princess a little while ago. So, as we said, we've done the video on the AX relay. Please go and have a look at that, because that illustrates to you all about how an AX relay should be set up. And it shows you how they used to set them up in the factory. Oh, congratulations, a 4 million BC, I think it said there. Yeah, look, Martin, that was the very first game I bought. I sort of wanted a pinball. I probably really didn't want a 4 million BC, but I liked the way that it didn't have a full shooter lane and that, but I soon sort of got to realise that my love was for the wedge heads of the 60s, which I've got in my collection. Once again, there's a video up on the channel about that. With your 4 million BC, make sure that you get those ball trough switches nice and clean, the ones that control how many balls are on the play field. That's the best advice we can give you there. But congratulations on your purchase. So Jungle Princess AX relay, as I say, it had been sort of, well,
been mangled.
Mangled, yeah.
Actually, I was talking to one guy that was working on it, and he said the owner was actually opening up the front door and getting a long screwdriver and prodding all the bloody switches on the AX relay until it started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's
oh, okay.
That's something you shouldn't do.
No. We got that AX relay snapping. You got to get them real snappy, as we showed you or illustrated in the video. And we got that all working. And admittedly, we still had to, after we'd done it all, we still had a few switches we had to adjust. There was one at the front of make break, which controls the U relay, and it wasn't quite right. We had to adjust that a bit more. And I think in the video we mentioned we're pretty certain that someone sprayed some sort of cleaner, contact cleaner or something in there. All the bits on the switches had gone, yeah, and it was dropping down onto the switch contact pads, and oh god, switch is lovely and clean. We dreamt it, but we ended up having to we just decided we wanted to change that out because the other side of it wasn't real good. Yeah, okay, just about those holes, Paul. That's I didn't really illustrate that on that video. I'll just get an AX relay and I'll show you something. There's that AX relay in the where the chimes are out of that game. I mean, we were talking about this. Yeah, Kyle. I really don't enjoy playing any of them. It's a simple. Yeah. As I just said, we're having a little bit of internet trouble here. Just seem to be losing it occasionally. We're sorry about that. Not too sure what goes on sometimes. Yeah, what we were talking about the other day, you have this bracket here with the screws on it, which has elongation when you loosen the screw so you can move it. So when they set these up in the factory, they obviously had a jig. They probably had two. You could see metal here. Yeah, I'm sorry if we keep having trouble. We're going to have to end this stream. We have a thing in Australia called the National Broadband Network, and in some areas it's not super reliable. And unfortunately down here where we are, it's not super reliable. I think it's the first time we've had trouble in a while, but we get it.
It comes and goes.
Please have a look at that video, and remember this. What I didn't really illustrate in that video, that pivots on an axis. So when you loosen the 3 screws, 1, 2, 3, that whole thing moves. So that allows you to get the adjustment of the latch correct. So that latch has got to fall in front or at the back of here. It's hard to show you. There's a bit of metal there. That bit of metal, and the back of the latch on the top relay, which is this thing here, has got to run up that metal. So the idea of being able to adjust that is to get it so it's just right, it doesn't rub, and it's perfect, and that's why those holes are there. I hope that makes sense. We were talking about that on the Fun with Pinball group, chat the other day, and last year actually. When I say the other day, time goes so quick. And what that is, there's a chap that gets on there. He'd be well known to a lot of people. I believe Graham and I, we don't go on Pinside. I think I'm a member, but I rarely ever use it. And there's a well-known guy on there called Tim Mee. That's Timme. Now, his name is Tim Meehan, and he's been around electromechanical games since the 70s. He knows a lot about Gottlieb, got a lot of the history on things and that. And we were talking about how they line things up one day, and that AX business came up. And I'd actually noticed it a couple of years ago and completely forgot about it, and it just makes perfect sense, having been involved in small mechanical devices for a long
These
time.
wires coming out the top or the bottom.
So once we got all that right,
they come out.
we ended up having another problem with that game where we'd lost power. We had no power to the play field, or no flippers, no nothing. Now, we pointed all this out on the schematic, on the video, so you've really got to watch the video. But what it was an unreliable connection on the ball roll tilt of all things. Someone had had some trouble with it, and at some point in time, and they'd soldered something on, and anyway, what we ended up doing, because there's no ball roll, no ball in the ball roll tilt, we didn't want to mess with it too much. We simply took the 3 wires off, joined them together, put little clips on them. What do you call them? Those round clips, and eye clips, and soldered those on and screwed them onto the little frame where the tilt bob goes. So we had no more trouble with that. That was all good. We had a little bit of, then we had a problem where the V for Victor relay wouldn't pull in. That's the replay button relay. Now let me think, what was that? Once again, we talked about it in the video. Oh, it was a bad, it was a bad switch on the U relay, but what it was, on the replay button, on the lugs of the switch, there's a brown and orange wire. That's the standard colour. Now, Gottlieb did use a lot of standard colours, and brown and orange are the standard ones in the replay button. Well, guess what? After a bit of a frustrating hour or so, we figured out that, hang on, someone had soldered a coin switch wire in place of the brown wire and removed it. The brown wire was part of the circuit that pulls in the V for Victor relay. Therefore, that's why that wasn't happening. And because the V relay was not pulling in, it would not subtract a credit. Once again, we went through the circuit on that. So obviously we want to encourage you to watch our videos. These videos take time to make. We don't make any money out of them. Sometimes people kindly give us a super chat or a super thanks. And sometimes we make mistakes in them, like we might use the word relay instead of coil, or I might, you know, because they're not scripted. It's all just live like we are now. Then we discovered on this game another problem. When the ball would drain, it would reset all the drop targets. Beautiful. But occasionally on startup, it wouldn't reset the drop targets. Well, that got worse and worse and worse, and eventually they just wouldn't reset at all. Now, it's a very, very simple circuit. That's the circuit that's right at the bottom of the schematic. And the U relay has to be pulled in before anything will happen. And as we mentioned in that video, the U and the game over relay pull in as soon as you turn the power on, and they release once the AX relay pulls in. Now, we thought we fixed this problem. We thought the switch on the U relay, which normally should be closed, was a bit dirty. And we took it out, dremeled it, and away it went for a little bit. Then it'd stop again and start again, and oh gee. So we walked away from it for a day, and that's what we often do. We just walk away. We actually rang the owner up and said, oh, look, it's pretty good to go, and it started doing this again. So we came back in the other day and said, right, let's go through everything slowly again. We decided what we'd do was hold the U relay in just for that fraction longer to see if it worked. And guess what it did? Now, that implies like a lock-in or hold-in circuit. So, went to the schematic to try and find the hold-in circuit for the U relay. And after a little bit of searching, I found it. And it's switch 1B. Now, there's only one switch on there, and that's its particular job. So because we know that this machine had been sprayed, etc., we decided to pull that switch out. It was pretty easy to get to. You just pulled the clip out of the score motor, swung it up, and we were able to unscrew it. We cleaned that switch with the Dremel. It was pretty dirty, but it didn't have a lot of pressure on it. So Graham got there and he had it in his hand and he adjusted it, put it in, and it hasn't missed a beat since. And that particular problem also had a little bit to do with occasionally it would pull in two players, and it's because there's a switch on the U relay that controls that. One with an orange and brown wire. So, orange and white, I'm sorry, or brown and white, I'm not sure, I can't remember. So that was what the problem was there. So that was great. You know, we fixed it. The machine has a few other problems that we mentioned in the video. The owner doesn't want to spend the money on it. Okay, pop bumpers aren't 100%. A few little things that I think they're going to be happy to put up with that. Now, who said something there a minute ago? This is Mr. Pinballologist. Now, this is a chap that lives about 3 hours drive from us roughly. His name's Mitch.
Does great restoration.
He's going to do a playfield swap on a Jungle Princess as original. Found a good playfield on Marketplace. Well, there you go. It's good to be able to get those. And all the best of luck with that one, Mitch. That should be good. Yeah, Graham, Kyle asked a question earlier. We know that you're EM and love them. However, can you tell me an SS machine that you enjoyed? And Graham answered that question. Do you have any SS machines you like? Or?
Yeah, there was a few.
Oh, there you go, Kyle.
I liked the early solid state Valley ones. They were pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of Kiss. I thought Playboy was a much better game. That was.
Yeah, I will say that was that 77 or something, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah, 78.
I will say I played that when I was younger.
It was a pretty game, times. Very pretty game, and had a lot of good things on it.
I guess, Graham, the thing was they looked and
Yeah.
still seemed like an electromechanical
Yeah,
game.
once they started going multi-level and ramps and things, that
Yeah, me too. That's where I
and
lost.
we couldn't see the ball up once it got up the top of the playfield.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I still liked a lot of those. I didn't mind the early Williams Solid State. They were good games, especially like games like Flash. They were brilliant.
Oh, Flash, yeah, that was good. Yeah,
That was a great game.
Flash, that was Williams, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. But as for Gottlieb early Solid State, some were good, some were duds.
Yeah,
They really didn't come onto their own until probably later on in the 80s. But I know with Williams, my first machine that I really liked that was like in the Solid State area was probably Comet. That was one that turned me back into pinball machines.
Comet. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that game.
I reckon that was because I like the old colourful, like comic book sort of machines, like they had from the 60s and such.
Okay.
And this is what reminded me a lot of it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, there you go, Kyle. If you're still with us, there's the answer. So Graham's like me; he doesn't like the ramps and losing side of the ball, but yeah, some of those earlier Solid States were good. I think, viewers, the thing was where Gottlieb were the king of pinball machines, electromechanical, and they were still riding a wave of height on the success of Spirit of 76. While they were still riding that wave, both Williams and Bally were well into developing their first solid state game. Gottlieb found out that it was too late, and there's an interview with Wayne Nines about that. Any of you ever get a chance, there's a YouTube channel called Rizzle Razzle Uno. Now, Rizzle Razzle Uno, if you search for it, it'll come up. That's a guy called Will White, good friend of mine. He's based in Alabama, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. He was from California. And he's personal friends with Wayne when he was alive, John Osborne, Larry Zartarian, Randy Peck, and a lot of the people in pinball. And one of the videos he made, Wayne explained that Wayne himself felt slightly responsible for not realising quick enough that electronics were going to soon be a big part of pinball machines. And like I said, this was 1976. Now, as most of you know, I worked in the office machine business for a long time, and electronic cash registers we started to see them in 1975. So, you know, that type of electronics for cash registers was the same they would have used in pinball machines. So that's how advanced it was. Well, not super advanced, but believe me, it was advanced for the early 70s. I'm just trying to see if I've missed anyone's messages. Oh yeah, Gallagher was working on Close Encounters. Good. What do we got? Yeah, Paul, did you get that AX relay? Oh, we talked about that, didn't we? About the holes, yeah. Just a reminder, and don't go berserk loosening those screws and adjusting that. It's not necessary. I emphasise that in the video. That's purely if you've got if someone's sort of mucked with one, and you don't want to...
Yeah, sometimes it's necessary if someone's unfortunately has done something.
I think that's only the second time we've ever had to do that.
Yeah, I've done it a few times back in the 80s. Cause,
did you? Yeah, you remember you said that.
There were some shocking things back then.
Yeah, okay. Now, I mentioned a little while ago that we had we work on a lot of stepper units. We pull them right apart. I think everyone knows that from our previous videos. And we work on them and put them back together and lubricate them and adjust them. Yes, lubricate them. It's necessary to lubricate steppers. They've got moving parts and you've got to lubricate them. But quite a number of times over the last few years, we've found when we do a stepper, particularly ones that work hard, like a bonus stepper or a player unit stepper, they're going clack, 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 clack all the time. And especially one of those games where the bonus stepper, like Hot Shot or Sure Shot, every time you drain a ball, it goes through the whole sequence, whether you've got a bonus or not. And we've got the drive arm, which is this part here, But what we have, where that hole is, that's where a rivet goes through, like that. And that's a shoulder rivet, so it's meant to sit out a little bit. I can't get that in because we had to drill that out. But what the problem is that this is the actual drive pawl, and see all that up and down and so that's really bad. What happens is that hole, and I don't know that you can see in that photo, in the view. Let's have a little look with some white paper. It's sort of egg-shaped. Once again, I really don't know if you can see it. But of course, when you put that rivet in, you can soon work that out because, you know, that should be fixed, that shoulder. So in other words, there's a better example of it there. Look at that. Oh, hang on. God. I don't know. Live videos, eh? Oh, I don't know. I'm not left-handed. I've got to try and hold that. There we go. Look at that. Hell of a lot of movement. Too much. So that part needs replacing because that's all worn out, the hole. I actually spoke to Steve at Pinball Resource about this. I sent him an email and said, hey, we've had a few of these. And he said, yeah, that's a really good point. What he's trying to figure out, there's two sizes. Can you pass me the pliers, the long nose pliers? Two sizes of these shoulder rivets. Two sizes. And what he's trying to figure out, you know, how do you do it? Because you don't want people to belt them on and then bind it up on here, and you know they've mucked it all up. And so he was thinking about like a locking nut, you know, a nylock nut on a thread, but then he thought maybe they'd break it. So it's a bit of a dilemma. It's probably not a cheap part, but we found it necessary to replace it a couple of times, and you know eventually we're going to run out of them. So that's something to look for. What you can do about it, I don't know, unless you're like us and you've got a few parts. It makes it a little bit of a difficult process. So where are you up to there now, Graham?
I'm just on the final stroke, the strength there, bloody. Once I finish this core casing, just needs slight adjustment, but I think that this has been a little bit. So just got to keep at it. But once it's back in the game, you can adjust it again. This is only just for my own satisfaction, basically.
Yeah, well, you look like you're nearly through there.
Yeah.
And here's another example, people, of what... See that, how that spring's been stretched? Look at that, it's mutilated. That's all because that's off one of these that we were just showing you a minute ago. And see this one here, there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's not got any lateral, horizontal or sideways movement whatsoever. That's fine. Like I say, they don't happen all the time. But someone has stretched, that's the drive arm spring that hooks back up onto the top of the frame. This is off a ball count unit out of, what was it? Kingpin. I mean, why would you do that? I'll tell you why they did it. They did it to overcome a bind in that unit. In other words, they were too lazy to pull the unit apart and do it once, do it right. So now, and the spring on the reset arm that was all mangled as well. Where did I have that? Oh, I had it here somewhere. And the torsion spring on the escapement wheel is pretty bad. So we're going to change that. We're going to put one of those spring kits in it. I think that's really our best solution, because that spring's been down the middle. You know, I'll cut that spring in half and make it into 2 more springs to use somewhere else, which I find is crazy. So now he's nearly completed this job here. Greetings from Ohio. Hi, Chuck. I think I've mentioned to you before, yeah, we go through Ohio generally when we're in the States. A friend of mine owns a property in Euclid, E-U-C-L-I-D. I believe it's not far from Cleveland. We're actually thinking about going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but we sort of decided against it last time because of where it was, parking and God knows what, and one of the people we were with had actually been there, so, and he sort of talked us out of it, but that's okay. Here's the other side. We were showing you this butterfly unit a while ago, that thing. There it is bolted onto the machine, and you can see the switches when all the drop targets are down, that'll push in on the nylon there. There's the switches, and when I push in, it changes the state of the switches. See that? Sorry. There you go. Get Graham's hand. Yeah, we'll use his hand as a background. That's what it does. So, if you've ever got problems with like specials not lighting and things like that, what else do they do? Specials, sequence complete, even the drop target's not restoring. Often one of those switches is dirty or misadjusted, barely touching. So a few people have told us what games they've got. Has anyone had any difficult repairs that they've had to tackle lately? Now, we had Bob Milsner on there earlier. Now, Bob's a good friend of mine. He lives in Rockford, Illinois. I stay at his place when I go over. I've stayed there twice now on a farm, and Bob's got quite a number of machines. In fact, when I was there last October, it was the 21st of October. It was a Monday. Bob had a fellow come round to interview him from the Rock River Current. That's some sort of local online news bulletin over in that area. And he interviewed Bob and myself, and Mark Gibson showed up. And Bob has a number of machines there, and the guy was playing a racquetball. 60s game, hard game to get a good score, and this guy got about 1,500. I think he was hooked on pinball after that. And we had a look at a few of Bob's machines, and he's in his shed right now, or was, if he's still with us, putting some coils in or something. He said he had some repairs to do. And Bob took me around and introduced me to another collector close by to him, which was really good. We had a good time. And it's good to see a bit of country life, you know, getting to stay on a farm.
I could live on a property, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'd like this one, Graham. It's got some big sheds, big workshop.
Oh, you got to have sheds.
Got a whole, which is a whole pinball room, and Bob's got his guitar and his drums in there and everything like that. So no one's had any more difficult repairs to do you can let us know about? That's what we're all here for. I'll have to try and keep you informed. I don't know that we've got anything else happening majorly. Can you think of anything else, Graham?
Well, we might be getting that dropper card playfield back soon to do that playfield swap on that.
I sort of mentioned that earlier on. Yeah, it's on our list. That's dropper card. Yeah, it's definitely on our list. We're trying to do these things in order. We sort of, I mentioned we got this majorettes. What I forgot to mention as well about it is that's actually, I think I mentioned to you earlier, Graham, the guy called up a couple of days ago, and it's being picked up next week. Oh. And going to come over from South Australia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the owner actually, texted me. Yeah.
So that's going to happen. That'll arrive. It's getting picked up one day next week, and this guy that's picking it up, he picks up pinball machines all up and down the east coast of Australia, and he goes over to South Australia. That's a hell of a run, and we will probably have that machine. Hopefully, maybe toward the end of next week, or
and we can start to assess it.
Or the week after. We need to assess it. We'll let the guy know roughly what it's all going to cost.
What's got to be done and
how
far he wants to go.
Yeah, because he's a bit hesitant. He doesn't want to spend,
which is fair enough.
$5,000, but he needs to have a bit of an idea. So we told him once we see it, we'll get a better idea.
We just want to see how much touch-ups on the playfield and things that are rusted we've got to be replaced or chromed or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Chrome plating's expensive if you need to get it done, as everyone knows. We have a particular issue in Australia. If we buy new legs from PBR, the shipping is a killer. The legs are cheap enough, but the shipping is just crazy. Unbelievably crazy. But nothing you can do about it. So sometimes it may work out, if you've got enough of them, to go to a chrome plater. We've got 2 in our area. One does a super good job, and one does a reasonable job, not as good. The one that does the reasonable job, not as good, is a little bit quicker than the one that does the better job, but you can get them done a whole lot better. No, Spanky, where is he? He really should be over there helping. Oh, there he is. There is Spanky. He must have been. He's just got up. He'll check that. He'll check that unit out for Graham in a minute. I guess.
Probably needs a bit more.
God, he's filthy, aren't you, goat?
I'll give it a bit more stroke.
Yeah. He hasn't had a tub since he came back from the States.
Oh, but Skanky's getting the makeover at the hairdresser.
Oh, yeah, Skanky's getting a makeover. That's right.
Yeah, she'll be back in another week or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Mitch, Mr. Pinball, just says he's got 2 high hands he's doing, and they're both giving him grief.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good game, but.
Yeah, high hand, one of the biggest problems with that is because it's got all the drop targets. It's got 4 lots of drop targets, hasn't it?
Yeah, 4 lots of 4.
We find that paying a lot more attention to that step unit on the motorboard up the back corner, making sure it's working really good, seems to help a lot with that. So have fun with that, Mitch. We know what high end can be a bit difficult. There, Graham's got his unit working.
We're not going to get any more stroke, but as it is.
That's pretty good. It's pretty hard to... There you go. Now what the idea is, if he resets that very slowly, what you want to see is those drop targets all fall onto the frame.
Which they do, surprisingly.
And of course they're new drop targets, so yeah. And that's the little spring we were talking about. The big spring's on the trigger.
Yep.
Turn it round so we can see the trigger spring, Graham.
And the harder spring is the top one that goes to the top of there.
This is your trigger spring, this one here. That's the spring.
And that's the heavier spring.
That's the one that goes on the
top target?
On the target.
Well, that's
the heavy spring, I reiterate, is the part number A517.
And that actually pulls the drop target down.
Yes. Yes, lets it fall.
So
So you're happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more adjustments we can do in the game, but I think it's okay.
Rightio.
And the butterfly works if you want to look at that. You can get that in shot. You can see when all the targets are down, that moves. Last one.
There you go, it fell forward.
Yep. And that will change the configuration.
The state of the switches, as we just illustrated a moment ago with the old one.
So
it's really good that we've got parts like this and things we can show students when they come to do the course, and the AX relay and everything like that. It makes it easy. I know a lot of people viewing haven't got access to parts and things like like Graham's been doing this now. This is his 40th year. God, you're old.
I am old.
Yeah.
But I still got my youthful looks.
Ah.
That's why I get all. That's why I get all the women, and you don't.
Oh, right. Okay. I see.
Okay, so after this is done. So when Kim's doing his course, I've got to do what's this game? Kingpin.
Kingpin,
So
yeah.
I've got to do the score rules of Kingpin.
Yep.
Maybe the 0 to 9 unit. Or we got a FS relay in it.
Yep, it would have, yeah.
Yep. Have you you've got to take the credit meter out yet?
I think Kingpin's got the FS relay under the playfield also
Yeah.
for the arrows along the targets.
Well, I can strip the credit meter as well.
Yeah, the credit meter
Then
needs to be cleaned.
And I can change the globes if I get time. Every globe looks like it's got to be done by the looks of it.
Yep. And Kingpin has 4 flippers, so
Yes, 2 bumpers.
probably going to need flipper kits and pop
Yes.
bumper kits.
But it's a pretty simple game to work on.
Yeah, always well worth considering, viewers. Pop bumper kits. They're available from PBR. I don't know, I can't remember how much they are there. Look, they're reasonably cheap. I mean, once again, for us here, people here in Australia, the shipping's a little bit more. However, they're well worth putting in. Really, really well worth it. They will improve your performance of your pop bumpers out of sight. And flipper kits, of course, are the mechanical side of the flippers. And 9 times out of 10, when people have weak flippers, unless you've got really bad end of stroke switches or a wire falling off, it's mechanical because they lose inertia because of wear in the linkages. The plunger has worn down, the coil stop's worn, and things like that. So we did a video the other day on flipper rebuilds on the later style flippers. They're the ones that are more problematic, you know, the 3-inch flipper ones. Every time we do one of those, we have trouble with one side. I don't know. We don't like them.
You've only got to have one little part bent and the whole thing goes down the toilet.
Well, what you often find, oh, here you go. Here, I've got one here. You get the bearing kit in them. You get the bearing kit in them, and there's 2 bearings, but you often find, where is it? Oh, the plunger's got that bit of nylon on the end of it. You often find that if that's got a little bit of a plastic gag on it, that can give you trouble. Yeah, it's the that bit there where it goes through. You can get problems with that. This frame can bend between there and there. You can get those bent. You've got to watch out for that. Even the bottom frame can get bent. I don't know. They just weren't a great design, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the core stop brackets get bent.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, the other ones do give you occasional trouble, but nowhere near like these. So,
I suppose they're good when they
anyway,
come out.
have a look at that video if you want to learn a bit about those flippers. We talk a lot about things, how you can put things in wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, some people might say, oh, that's obvious, but it's pretty clear that on a lot of posts you see in our group, the Goatshed EM Pinball Specialists and the EM Pinball group, that, you know, obviously there's people out there that need to learn. And that's what we're all here for. We're all here to learn off each other. Yeah, that's right, Paul. If the flippers and pop bumpers aren't working, remember the flippers are the interface between the player and the game, and the pop bumpers aren't working, yeah, you get a poor game of pinball. And on that Jungle Princess that's out in the other room that we were just talking about, it really needs pop bumper kits. And it has an incorrect ring, one of the rings, the metal rings. There's 2 styles. It's got the incorrect style ring on it, and the ring sits too low.
Yeah.
And that's playing up.
But we had to fix the middle one no matter what.
We've made the owner aware once again, but, you know, I mean, as we said, they really don't want to spend too much cash on that game.
Well, it's only a paddock basher machine sort of thing where he's only lending it to a mate to play the hell out of it.
Yeah. So Graham's just introduced the Kingpin
So
There it is there. As you can see, once again, we take the whole unit out. All you've got to do, it's really simple. You just got to undo the screws on the cabinet that hold the latch in. You've got to undo the Jones plugs. It's 14 screws. That's all you've got to do.
basically, yeah.
And it's just so much easier to work on it on the bench, isn't it?
Oh, it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
And you can see a lot more what's going on as well. You can see a lot of breaks in the wires and things like that. Well,
Yep.
you might have picked it up.
Absolutely.
Otherwise.
Yeah, most definitely. So we believe in doing that. We only started doing that a couple of years ago, but by God, it's so much better. Just so much easier to get at everything. It makes a big difference. It really does. Well, we've been going an hour and 9 minutes. So no one's had any difficult repairs. We haven't only mentioned he's got trouble with the high hand.
Anyone got some restorations on the go?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, anyone doing a restoration on a game? Maybe, maybe not. And just remember, if you want to review anything on this video, it does get uploaded automatically to YouTube, our channel, as we complete the video. Which might be good or bad. I suppose it depends. So this particular game, we've also noticed 2 of the score reels. Is that one of them? No.
Yeah, here's one here.
They have a funny looking coil in them.
I think they're Spanish.
Okay.
Could be out of a Riesel, something like that.
So remember, Gottlieb sold the rights to, or copyright or whatever, to some Spanish and Italian companies to use some of their stuff. It was mainly Italian companies. Often a lot of Gottlieb wedge heads you'll see come out. They're all, but they might be parts not made by Gottlieb. And some of the coils, and the Spanish people used to make their own coils.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned before, gone are the days where we'll be doing any more resell or playmatic games. They're just trouble with a capital T, mainly because they're plastic wires. All the colours have faded off those wires and they all end up white, and it makes it so much difficult to troubleshoot. So Paul K is doing a Surf Champ. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, and the good news about Surf Champ is that, you know, the pattern's available very easy and for the cabinet and things. Martin Dillon is doing his 4 million BC and an Abracadabra. Okay, well, we've got that Abracadabra playfield and we'll be doing Abracadabra, I don't know, in the next few months. And Kyle, he's got
He's got a card whiz and a pro football.
the top EM machines he wants to know about. Oh, well, Kyle, my answer is very simple. The first pinball I played was Tropic Isle. I really love Tropic Isle, and I really enjoy Williams Apollo, Full House, Williams Full House, Williams Soccer from '64, and I do like Williams Alpine Club 7-Up. I haven't got either of those. I do like Williams Touchdown and Williams, what's the one with the easels on it?
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge, yeah. And some other Gottlieb games I'm keen on is King of Diamonds, which I own one of those. Banker Ball, I also own one of those. What about you, Graham? What about you?
My favourites.
Klondike?
Klondike's probably my favourite at the moment.
Oxo?
Oxo was a great one. I restored one for myself, and we actually sold it to a guy that was very happy with it. He'd been looking for one for ages, and they couldn't have got much better than the one that we had.
Well, I think we must have delivered that about 5 or 6 years ago to him, and then a few years ago he phoned us up and said he was moving house and he didn't dare trust the furniture removalists, and he asked us would we do that.
It was only about one suburb away, I think, from where he's...
I'll tell you what, I still had my Mazda CX-5 then,
so that's
for you Americans, Mazda, and we moved it in that, and I got rid of that in 2020. So time goes so damn quick.
Yeah.
So it's probably 7 years ago he bought it.
God, yeah. Well, and
So what other games did
oh,
you?
another. I like. I'm back into Williams single players machines now at the moment.
Yeah,
So
well, okay, yep.
so I'd like a doodle bug. As
Oh
well.
right, yeah. Doodlebug's a great game.
You like
Lots of fun.
Superstar's another good early '70s Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Travel Time's another good one. Travel Time.
Yeah.
It's a very different machine. People were scared of it when I was a kid because they didn't understand it, and second because the game went really quick. But
Okay.
once you learn how to get extra time and everything on it, it worked out really good. And I like all the other ones like triple action. There's a few from the '60s, early '60s, like School Pool. That was another good game I'd like. Four Roses, another good Williams game from the '60s. Ding Dong, another good one. Misso, I like Misso. I'd have one of them.
Oh, that's a pool theme, Misso, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Kyle. You're sorry you asked.
I could go on forever.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of great pinball machines, and I think most of us agree. There's a couple of bad ones too.
Williams did bring out some bad single players.
I think the Big Ben from the
Was probably one of the worst.
I think Williams had Big Ben in the 50s, did they not?
But that one there is very collectible.
Well, anything that Harry Williams designed was really good.
Right up there.
He had the ones with the disappearing pop bumpers, and Harry Williams was a pretty good designer. You know, we could talk about designers. I mean, Wayne Nyans was probably more prolific, but Norm Clark, he was a brilliant designer for Williams.
What about this, Kim? Like 20 odd years ago, we were offered a disappearing bumper, brand new in the box for $45.
Oh, and a fella you were in cahoots with that didn't want to buy
knocked
it.
it back. We said, we're never going to use it.
Yeah. Who knows?
Imagine we had that now.
Yeah.
That'd be long gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hi Dolly.
That's another good one.
Chuck's working on one of those. Post my woes in the gate. Yeah, please do, Chuck. Hi Dolly is another game that I used to play with a friend of mine. He died back in 2023. So we used to play Tropic Isle, a game each, and then we'd play Hi Dolly, which was a two-player game. And we were really good at it, you know. So I think Hi Dolly came out in about 65, didn't it, Graham? Something like that.
64, 65.
Oh, yeah, and we used to play it when we were in about 6th class in school and then high school. Kyle doing up pro football and carboys. Yep, we've spoken about them, Kyle, earlier on. Lawman, well, you've got, that's right. I suppose we're going to see that in the goat shed. Triple Action and Buccaneer, yeah, they've got to be done for Kyle as well.
Yeah.
Triple Action needs a fair bit of work. We mentioned this last year. We went on a trip up to a place, and one of those machines that was bought was the one Graham got, the Klondike. Williams Hotline. Yeah, that's a good game. We've had a few of those in here to repair.
Yeah, very unusual.
Yeah, it's the only electromechanical machine with a dot matrix display. In other words, the way they had Hotline on the playfield,
very clever.
Look very like a dot matrix thing. So electromechanical dot matrix. If you ever have a close look at a Williams Hotline. Now, what was that about? 65, 66? Yeah. Yeah, that's another. And Hotline also came out in a Addaball game, I think, didn't it?
Yeah.
There was another version of that. Hotline, yeah. There's, as we say, there's. I personally believe obviously the 50s and the 60s for me were the halcyon days of pinball machines. There were so many great games around. It's just unbelievable. Since we did our last broadcast, we've got these. We invested in these. This is a lapel microphone. Graham's got one on too. It's got a little receiver that's plugged into the USB port of the recording device. In this case, is my cell phone. So that was pretty expensive. That cost us, I don't know, I think that cost around $300, but we believe it's worth it. Comes in a little case, made by a company called Newer. And
Thank you.
that mob. We saw one when the guy came round. A guy came round. He does videos of. He calls himself Pastimes or Old Times or something. What's he call himself?
Our past.
Our past, yeah. And he heard about us, and we messaged him and told him what we do, and he came around and made a video of us. I think we put a link to that up on it. We did.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
There's a link up to that on our Goat Shed page.
Yeah, and there's a link on my Facebook page as well.
Oh, you link on Graham's link. There might be a link on mine if you're friends with me on Facebook. There's Murphy Peoples here. Did he join us today? You said you were going to join us. I don't think you've said, unless there's another name. I'm not sure. So, yeah. Well, I think we might end it now. I've got a little bit of preparation to do for the Fun with Pinball. Is there anyone here joining us on Fun with Pinball, or have joined us on Fun with Pinball? Just before we go, I'd just be interested to know. You know, Mark Gibson's a great guy. He's got all those wonderful electromechanical bits and pieces made up. He exhibits. You know, he takes them around. It was at Pinball Expo in Chicago last year. He takes them to other places. And he does this all on his own time. He runs pinball classes like we do in the States. I know he's been having trouble with Facebook for some unknown reason. He still shows up on Facebook, but he says he can't use it real well. Well, not that he can't use it, he can't access it for some unknown reason, which is a little bit bizarre. Anyhow, I don't think there was any unanswered questions, was there? Maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, only 45 minutes until the clinic starts. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's Dave, one of the coaches. Dave lives in Australia there and gets on. And we all help people. I think we've got 2 games to do today. We've got, what do we got? I think we had a guy with a surf has got some strange problems. And what else have we got? Questions. A surf champ. Yeah, so it has to be a 4-player. And then there's a guy with a problem with a pat hand, and people ask questions. So they're live video repairs. You know, people have to be able to use an app called, or not an app, well, it's a listen to their problems, and oh God, thank God they don't have to listen to ours.
Yeah, for hours.
All right. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. We mentioned the other day we had our first video go past 10,000 views, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The one at the moment on the reset, on the 76 plus reset, talking about how a 2-player game resets and a 4-player game up to a point, is very, very popular. It's had a lot of hits so far in a couple of days. We hope that YouTube choose to leave our channel on as time progresses. They make changes from time to time, but it's all about pinball. Very, very popular. All right. So I'll bid you all farewell. I think Graham will bid you farewell. And thanks, Paul. We will have a good day. And all you people have a lovely evening in the States, and any of our viewers in Australia, thanks so much for watching.
We'll let Cecil give the shout outs.
He will.